Tim Petrovich of the Daily Republican here with Marion head football coach Kerry Martin. And Coach, hard to believe it's that time of year again. We're just a couple of days away now. Season opener Friday night against Granite City. Can you believe a year has gone this fast?
It goes fast. The longer I coach, the faster it seems to go. We seemed like we just had our last conversation, and we had a little cold weather, and the springtime came, and we had some summer workouts. And here we are again, ready to play our first game.
Wildcats, I think there's some fairly high expectations for this team. 9-2 last year, runner-up in the conference, second round of the playoffs, and there's quite a few players coming back. And I think you've come to the point now where you've established yourself as reaching what we call program status, which means year in and year out, Marion is a school that's expected to be in the playoffs.
We hope so. You know, we worked hard to try to create those expectations, and we want our kids to expect to be a playoff team. We want the fans to expect that out of us. We expect that out of our coaching staff, and of course every year we establish our goals for the season. Being a playoff team is really one of our top priorities, because you can't fight for a state title unless you make the playoffs. And so it all begins for us there with that goal every season, and we hope we make it 6 years in a row. But we don't take anything for granted. We understand we got a tough schedule, and there'll be some challenges to us, beginning with the opening game against Granite City.
A lot of familiar names come back for this year's team. I can rattle off Shaquille Ivey, Torrance Stanley. On the offensive line, Matt Griffith and Austin Dixon, and several others come to mind. Defense, I think 9 players who started at least one game were back from last year's team. A lot of familiar names to build around.
There are. Every year, the last several years, of course, we've lost some good seniors, and we've been able to kind of reload those starting lineups with pretty quality players. We think we've done that again, but sometimes you just never know how big of a loss a certain player is till you start playing again. We feel like we brought some good players up to starting status. We think some kids that didn't start every game last year are ready to start every game this year. But we're optimistic. We're excited about the season. But we also know we've got to continue to get better. We're not where we want to be yet. I don't think anybody's really ready to play that opening ball game, to be truthful. They don't have a lot of time to get ready. But we're excited, and it's just getting to be that time where we need to play somebody else.
You do replace your quarterback this year. Brett Bradley is the game 1 quarterback. Talk a little bit about Brett's style and how he may be different from Dalton Robertson last year.
Certainly Dalton was the type of runner that, he could really threaten the defense with, scrambling and keeping the ball and getting to the outside on a rollout pass. Brett's not that kind of quarterback. Brett is a little more like the Matt Brown style, more of a pocket passer. He does move pretty well. He does scramble pretty well. But, we've been able to go back to some things maybe that we did well when Matt was quarterback, get away from a few things that maybe we had in there for Dalton. Matt Lewis, we'll probably see a little bit of action on Friday also, our sophomore quarterback. He's similar to Brett's style. They're both very smart quarterbacks. They're both hard workers, and I expect them to both just get better as the season progresses.
You've had some good running backs over the last few years, and last year in particular, Zach Irwin and Aaron McFadden. The year before that, Terranius Stanley, who you'd hoped to have last year when he got hurt. Does anyone compare to the style of runner that Shaquille Ivey is going to be this year?
It's a good question. I think Shaq is a little more unique in his style. Terranius was a cutter and a slasher and could get to the outside and score. Shaq is a little bit of a power football runner, but he also brings some of that speed also. Shaq is content running through you as he's running around you. But, he's more in the style of an Adam Byrne, maybe a little bit. So he's got his own style, his own way. We really haven't had anyone that runs just like Shaq. And then we're going to complement Shaq with some other good running backs that I think bring some unique things to the table as well. Alex Long, Torn, playing a little bit in the backfield, Cedric Neal, and Herbert McMillan.
Talk about Herbert coming back this year. A nice addition to have back after a year off.
It really is. He's a great kid. He's a tremendous athlete. We've got him playing a little bit of Wildcat quarterback position where he played for 2 years. He's an excellent receiver. He's going to help us on defense. Really impressed us running the football. He's going to be a great complement to Shaquille, and I think really going to help our football team. We missed him last year, and he's made great strides in catching up. Sometimes when you miss a season, it takes a while to catch up, and I really am pleased at where he's at right now.
One of the things people are going to wonder when they start watching the first couple games, if they haven't seen it or heard about it, is they're going to wonder where's Holden Real. Talk about Holden, and he got hurt in camp, I believe, and you'll miss him. Talk about Holden a little bit.
It's a big loss for us, you know, and every time you lose a player like Holden, you can't really replace that player. Holden did things that were unique to Holden, you know, and he was extremely intelligent, had great feet, good speed, very strong, hard-working kid. He was a great leader for us, and he broke his leg during camp. And very unfortunate situation. We hate to lose him for a number of reasons, as much off the field as on the field. I mean, this guy could do anything. You could play him at numerous positions. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was kind of our third quarterback if we needed him to be. We were going to use him in the Wildcat offense, and so losing him was a big blow to us. And now some players must step up and try to fill that void that's left by Holden being gone. And I think Herbert and Cedric and some others are going to be able to do that to some extent, but no one's actually going to take the place of Holden because, as I said, he was a unique player.
Granite City coming up Friday night. They come here. Last year, you scored twice before Granite City ran an offensive play. Ran the opening kickback 63 yards down to about their 20, went in and scored, forced a fumble on the kickoff, went in and scored again.
Right.
You can't obviously expect that to happen again. Certainly Granite City hopes that doesn't happen again. So, but that's obviously the kind of start you'd like to have.
Yeah, it was a great scenario with Dalton out that opening game and Terranius having to play quarterback. We did not have all of our weapons in that opening game, and to get out to a 2-touchdown lead early really helped. We have a tremendous amount of respect for Granite City. They are a big physical football team. They play in a great football conference. They play amazing competition. They're big and athletic, and we know all that. 2 years ago they came in here and put them on us pretty good. So we expect this ball game every year to be as physical a game as any game we're going to play on a 9-game schedule. So they've got our attention. We know what we have to do. We got to be very opportunistic. We got to minimize our mistakes, and we've got to execute. And sometimes week one, the team that makes the fewest mistakes and executes the best is the team that's going to win that ball game.
And they're not going to be exactly the same as they've been in the past. Obviously different personnel, but new coaching staff this year too. So it's not going to be the same playbook that you prepared for last year.
And it's a little more difficult to prepare for them because we're not familiar with this coach. We know he came within the program. We hear good things about things he's doing there, but a lot of it's going to be hard to figure some things out on Friday as the game begins.
You're at home Friday night. Nice place to open the season.
Great place. Yeah, we started with a heck of a road trip last year. For the first 5 games, and this year we spent a lot of our early season at home, and we're excited about that. Having getting the chance to open the season up right here in front of our home crowd, and people seem excited. We're excited to get started. We can't wait to play.
How important is it being here? We've talked about this before, but how exciting is it to play here in front of these Wildcat fans?
We love our home atmosphere. We feel like we've got a special place here. The atmosphere from all the activities going on in the different organizations, the band, the Palms, the cheerleaders. I mean, we have color guard. There's all kinds of stuff going on here, and this place is packed, it's loud, and our players feed off of that, and we're just excited. The Maniacs have got that east end zone filled up, and they're noisy, and we're just looking for giving the people a good show and making them worth that ticket price. And we're going to give them everything we've got. I guarantee you that.
7 o'clock Friday night.
7 o'clock kickoff.
Look forward to seeing you there, Coach.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Coach Kerry Martin, the Marion Wildcats, for the Daily Republic, and I'm Tim Petrovich.